Hello everyone. Thank you for joining me here at this presentation. I know that we must be tired a little bit, and I'm dreaming of some yummy food out there to have some lunch. But let's stay focused for a while and let's go through this one. So a little bit about myself. I'm a translator, as most of you here. Having joined language industry in 2008, I've been involved in different activities such as linguistic quality assurance, copywriting, linguistic testing, and I want to share some tips and bits I gathered throughout my career, and also to show you a perspective from the other side, from the side of the project manager who is working with dozens of freelance translators and customers throughout the world. Currently, I'm playing a role as a services manager at Lilt, AI-based language and technology provider, and as you may have noticed at the opening ceremony, I'm volunteering for Women in Localization Ukraine chapter, being its membership manager. We organize different events to foster a global community that inspire equality in the localization industry and support women throughout their careers. Another name of my presentation could have been what I wish I had known 13 years ago when I just started up in the language industry, or what I wish I had known 2 years ago when I lost one of my biggest clients. And this presentation is aimed mostly at the fresh newcomers, but I hope it can be beneficial to this seasoned professionals as well, as at different stages of our careers we face the need to fire not so good clients of us, or some great opportunity land on our table. So hope it can be useful for all of you. And actually I'd like to get to know you a little bit more. Do we have fresh starters here? Can you please raise your hands? Who is great? And do we have seasoned professionals, experienced ones? A few here. Is anyone from translation agency representatives? Nope, we don't. Yeah, we have one. Great. So let's get started. First of all, as you may know, we are skilled professionals and we need to perfect our writing and translation skills. We can take writing courses where our colleagues revise our texts in target language. We can also work with more experienced colleagues, with mentors, to pick up the to see what wording they're using, what terms. And we can also, I used to read my translation aloud to pick up any unnecessary wording, or to test readability. And I'm also reading widely to enrich my vocabulary. And the second pillar, in my opinion, is subject matter specialization. Imagine a girl, a 17 years old girl, sitting in the dormitory and registering at Prosecom. This was me back in 2008 in Chereshnovska, where I studied international relations and translation, and I was really lost where to start. And I began translating general texts of different specialization to be able to understand what is in line with my hobbies, or with what I really like to do. And after some time, I discovered that there is a demand in IT translation and localization, and actually this was in line with my interests and hobbies, and combining all those things, I ended up specializing in IT translation and localization, and to have a deep drive into the industry, I learned to write some basic HTML code. That was fun, and I even write some really simple web page. That was fun, but that also was a great practical experience. I would also recommend to take part in specialized conferences in the industry you're working with. For example, I was taking part in conferences from Microsoft and Oracle, and I completed Google digital certification, and there are different really good courses in the HubSpot Academy connected to the marketing sphere. So this gave me an opportunity to pick up some industry knowledge and the terminology, which was really useful. And then volunteer opportunities. In my mind, it's really a good way to get hands-on experience. So back then, when I was a student, I was thinking, what I can do, how I can apply my skills. And I came across Global Lives Project, which is a non-profit organization, and I contacted them and started to translate texts for them. And this was really inspiring experience for me, and this way I gained I gained confidence that I'm on the right track. Also, when you are working with volunteer projects, you can get feedback from your colleagues, and you can also learn new tools and processes. And you actually can understand if translation is your dream occupation. Here on this slide, I gathered some opportunities from wider ones to from general ones to more specialized. You can see educational platforms like Khan Academy or Coursera, Wikipedia. Then I know we had presentation from representative of Ukrainian gaming community, Shlyak Betraf, and I included some of the IT-related and localization projects I used to contribute, like Ubuntu, Mozilla, Raspberry Pi. You can also have a look at the Crowdin page, which is translation platform, to see. Recently, I saw they're posting about some great opportunities for those who want to try out as a localizers to localize some IT-related projects. I have a handy PDF for you if so you can explore the things that can be interesting for you. You can take a photo, and I'll post this at my social networks as well later after the presentation. And I'd like to mention briefly about two opportunities for Ukrainian translators. This summer, Women in Localization Ukraine and Prosicom had an internship program for students of Ukrainian universities, as some of you might have taken part in it, where students were able to take part in the real-life projects and try different roles like project manager or translator, reviser. and so on. My colleague Irina Lebedeva will tell about the program in one of the next session, I believe. And also we have Lviv European Translation Contest, which is taking place since 2004, I believe, and it is one of the biggest events for Ukrainian youth. So now, when you have some practical skills, it's time to get down to more business and marketing skills. When I look back at my first resume, I can confess to you that it was a real failure. There were irrelevant information, weird structure, personal information. But over time, I have improved it and taken it into account those attempts to make it better, and also my experience as a project manager when I'm creating language teams and I'm looking for translators in different language combinations and domains. I've just wanted to spotlight some of the important information to include and what should be avoided. So just to start with a concise headline, including your language pairs, specialization, then followed by the contact information. And in my mind, it's important to include time zone, as project managers may decide whom to place an assignment depending on where you're located, as we're all working with companies throughout the world. And when creating a resume, I was focusing on some specialization, and I have several resumes depending on the job opportunity I'm applying for. If you have a complete Prosy and LinkedIn profile, you can also include it in the contact information section. And of course, we are all excellent translators and excellent writers, so the resume should be spotless. Considering the layout, I would suggest to have 1 page, maximum 2 pages, and to have it in the PDF format, as it can be opened in the browser and you don't need to download the Word file, for example, on your computer, and you need to name it appropriately, not with some weird names. And then I have included a screenshot of one of my resumes here. And when we're speaking about what should be avoided, it gets a little bit trickier, and you need to apply your own judgment. For example, considering irrelevant information, for example, hobbies. If you are into sailing, it might be not a good idea to include this in your resume. But for example, if a customer is looking for, wants to have some marketing on technical text translated about the boats, when you include information about sailing, it can be a good selling point for them, an advantage actually. And it's a good way to group projects by specialization and to use bullet points, and so your resume have a good layout. And then I came across several CVs in the target language of the translator, and it was really weird, and actually this prevented me from reading the resume and translators to be considered for the job. So if you are not applying to some local company, I recommend to write a resume in English, for example, but not in your target language. For the more practical view, I've included screenshots from my CV, including main structural points. So you can see a headline with specialization, then contact information, and a short summary can be a good way to articulate your advantages and to show your skills. And then list of specializations. So this was more a general resume. And target languages, then services, and down there we have work experience, highlighting like the most important parts. You don't need to include all the projects you worked throughout your career. And then I've included education, some volunteers opportunities, independent courses that I worked. So just to double mention that all the information should be relevant to the job you're applying for. And now when we have excellent translation skills and shiny resume, it's time to find some clients. And I would say the translation agency can be a good starting point, as they are easier to contact and they understand translation process, and they can provide, if you have a good relations with them, they can provide a stable workload for you. There are different agencies of different scales, from boutique agency that specialize in some language combination, specific language combination and domains, to a big multilingual language services provider that operates throughout the world. And you need to find the one that will be in line with your expectations, so you don't get like small projects or one-time jobs. You need to build really sustainable relations. And then you can have a look at the NIMD ranking of the language services provider that can give you like inspiration to see different types and kinds of the agencies out there. The next category is online platforms and job boards. Frankly speaking, I don't have extensive experience working with finding clients on those job boards, as sometimes they provide just one-off projects. But it's really important to remember that you need to have an extensive profile and up-to-date profile to be able to, so the client can consider you for the job. And then in the early years of my career, I found some of my clients at Prosy.com. Actually, I found my first paying client there. It's like the first love. You will remember it for all of your life. And I think that it's worth giving a try. It's important to remember to have a complete profile here. Including feedback from your previous clients, so-called willingness to work again. And then I would say that having a paid membership could be beneficial, as your profile will be listed higher in the among other applicants to the job. And then the other advantage is Blue Board, where you can see feedback about the client from other translators. So you'll be able to decide if you want to cooperate with them actually. And then recently I explored LinkedIn to be a good way to find clients, especially direct ones. The one advantage is that you can connect with the prospect directly. I usually connect with them and write some personal notes about related to the job, and like to make a connection with them. Personal connection. And you can look for for jobs in the groups, LinkedIn groups, and also you can filter. You can input keywords, for example, Ukrainian translator in the general search, and then filter by the post type, selecting post, and you will see posts that mention Ukrainian translators, for example, or Russian one, and you can also filter by the date, so you can filter, for example, from the last 1 month. Then and you can comment under the post if you find a good opportunity. This way I found, I think, 1 or 2 direct clients. So but again, please be sure to have your LinkedIn profile complete and to include all your previous experiences and also feedback from the clients if it's possible. And then direct clients, I'm not sure about time. Yeah, we have 15 minutes left, so we don't have a lot of time to speak about direct clients, but just to share my personal experience, I would say that most of my direct clients found me using different social media, including Prozee.com and LinkedIn, and also through referrals. So it's important to have your online profiles complete and to network with your peers, as we are doing it right now in the conference. And then the other skill that it's important for freelance professionals is sales and business development. I know that it can be you might be not that comfortable with sales as I was, and actually I didn't realize that sales is important for freelancers. But over time, I faced the need to find new clients, and I actually need to sell my services and to do cold outreach, for example, to the direct prospects or to the translation agencies, or in the response to some job offerings. And when I was composing my outreach, I researched the company and researched the person who I was going to contact and tried to make my email as much personal as it can be, including including arguments how I can help the company and how I can solve their problems. And then don't expect to receive answer right away or even after a couple of follow-ups. So I've put some simple system in place to keep track of all my sales activities. When I included, you can see in this table below, I included company details, what I did if I contacted them in LinkedIn or applied on the website, or whether I took a test with them, and the results of my activities and next actions. And then what was final result if, for example, I found that the client only wanted full-time on-site linguist, or if so it was like a fail for me. And then if I was onboarded, meaning that if I did the first project for the client. Following up this topic, I included some information about the cover letter, how to write cover letter. Basically, I've divided my cover letter into 3 categories. Introduction, where I introduce myself and what combinations, where I included information where I found the job. And then specific bullet points why why the company should consider me, including my previous experience. For example, if you're applying to be a translator for Booking.com, you can include that you have translated for tourism industry, for example, including word counts if the NDA with your previous clients allows to reveal this information. And then closing with the thank you for considering me and including my resume. So imagine that you've landed your client, and this is where hard work begins, because you need to make sure that cooperation is going smoothly. And we all are working in the service industry, so we need to provide excellent services. And communication is number one rule for me. Actually, even over communication, it is. I think it's a sign of professionalism. So when communicating, so it's important to communicate promptly and efficiently. For example. If you don't need to reply to your client immediately, but for example, you're working and then you're taking a break. You can reply during this break, confirming safe receipt of the email. If you aren't sure what to reply or how to solve the problem, you can just write that I'll look into that and get back to you ASAP. And then one of the pain points is communicating about delays. I was uncomfortable doing that, as it's like I'm failing, I'm not delivering job on time, but it's really important, and your client will appreciate if you will let them know that you won't be able to deliver by the deadline as early as you can. So they have like the buffer, they have the space to work with their stakeholders and to communicate this to them, and communicate about the project itself, asking questions, getting as much information about the project as you can. If, for example, you've posted some query, asked about the context in the translation project, but you don't have the reply by the time it's coming to you to deliver the project, I was writing my decision in the, for example, in the notes to the project or in the email, and clients can see the justification and they can forward this to their final clients. And what else do we have? Quality. So it goes without saying that we need to deliver excellent quality, but there are some factors that can impact the quality of our work. For example, we need to estimate what time is needed to complete the project. If we are in a rush, the project, the quality can be not so good or not as we expect it to be, and then we need to communicate about the project itself, asking the questions, and also if you are not sure about some terms, you can ask advice from your colleagues or from subject matters experts. For example, I've developed throughout the years, I've developed like a support network where I can ask my reviewers and my other colleagues how would they translate such or other term, and then if I'm not sure about some technical terms, I'm used to ask my friends who are software developers and can explain me how is it working actually. So be flexible. For example, if your client has some special requests or ask you to deliver the job a bit earlier as it turned to be a rush job. So you need to be flexible and you need to be reliable to deliver on time, and if you can't make it, to communicate this to your client as soon as possible. And then a team player, meaning that you can advise your client about the best practices or make some recommendation about the process or like the technology. Some advices how to nurture customer relations. One of my colleagues had a very interesting practice to be sending quarterly updates on email indicating her holidays, what recent courses she took, what projects she completed related to the area in which the client is working. And then sometimes I'm sending relevant articles to the clients if I found them, and making a personal connection is really important. For example, every year before Christmas, I'm sending Christmas cards to my clients, including sometimes a tiny piece of some good chocolate. So it's a small action, but it really helps to build the good relations with the customer. And if I'm traveling to the country or the city my client is living, I'm suggesting to take a lunch with them if they have, of course, time, and it's really beneficial. So what's next? As many speakers noted before, the modern world appreciates diversity, and if you will be able to provide different services within your specialization, you will have more opportunities to earn. For example, at different stages of my career, I've faced my clients face the need of different services. For example, I was doing community management for and also local user support. I was doing copywriting in the target language for Tumblr. So if you see that your client is in the need of additional linguistic and cultural related services, you need to look into developing some of the additional competences for you. Of course, networking, everybody knows about this, and we're doing it here. You can join translation associations. There are quite a lot out there. For example, American translation associations and Ukrainian one. Then there is globalization and localization associations. You can look for them online, and finding a mentor and receiving feedback from it is a great way for personal development. I've put through over time, I'm gathering for myself mainly some interesting resources, books and blogs, and I'm putting them on my website, on my blog. You can have a look in the long winter evenings at some interesting resources as well. I think that's it. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. And questions? Sorry if it was too long and too boring. Yep.
Hi, and thank you for this for your talk. It was very enlightening. My question is, when you were talking about a cover letter, Do you mean a separate piece of, say, a PDF or a Word document, or do you mean something that you just put into the body of an email, where you can? Reason I'm asking is, if, in my opinion at least, if you're putting a lot of words in the body of an email, a project manager or whoever's looking for a translator at a direct clients company will just look over it, probably miss some stuff, and go for something that is more shorter and more comprehensive, more straight to the point, like, I'm a translator in this language pair, I know your area, here's my CV attached.
Thank you for your question. So generally, when I was applying to jobs, I was putting my CV in the body of the email, but it was not that long. It just listed the main points, and I was attaching my resume to the email. And from the point of view of the customer, if you say who is looking at the email, I don't think it's a really good idea to have it attached, because you're opening the email and you can look through it. You don't have a lot of time to verify every word, and then to look through the main points in the body of the mail, and then to look at the CV itself attached. Anyone else wants to have some questions? Yep.
If there are no more questions, then I'll ask mine. So when you were speaking about the resume and the CV, do you think we, like today, we should be using the same old formats like Word files, PDF files, or have you tried some maybe innovative ways to send the resume? And a question that's related to that, what do you think about a personal website for a freelance translator?
Yes, so the first one about innovative ways. Yeah, there are online pages and online resume builders where you can post your resume, and it is okay. From my point of view, it's the weight of the resume has the same the same weight of the CV you're sending over PDF and on the online. So it's if you have time to make a shiny online page, it would be really nice. But if you're working, for example, if you're applying for translation agency, usually your resume is saved within their database, so they have it handy when they're searching for the translators. Yep. And then about website, yeah. So I know there is a movement in translation community to do a lot of marketing activities to have a website. And yes, if you have time, it's a good. It would be good to have a website. I also have some simple pages on the internet, but if you everyone is limited in their time, and in my point of view, it's better to develop yourself, your writing and translation skills, and actually your subject matter expertise, to take some additional courses than to spend days on your website.